Great Music Studios. I ain't going home till they play my song. I say I ain't going home till the last truck gone. I got my shoes, I got my rocks, got some liquor in my bag, and I ready to get on. You looking for me, here I am, jamming long time behind my van, winding up on wifey bam bam and getting on bad, 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 bad. I don't think that they're ready for this one. I don't think that they're ready for this one. I don't think that they're ready for this one. No. This for the one with the wine and addiction. This for the one with the wine and conviction. This for the one with the wine and tradition. We getting on bad, 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 bad. We getting on bad, 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 bad. We getting on bad, 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 bad. We getting on bad, 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 bad. We getting on bad, 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 bad. We getting on bad, 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 bad. I ain't going home till they play my song. I say I ain't going home till the last truck goes.
The booth holders have really put in a lot of work this carnival to make this village whole again. So once we're done here tonight with a short opening ceremony, I hope you take the time and go visit all of the booths, check out their creativity, check out the cultural themes they attach to their booths. They're really something else. Check out their menus, check out their drinks. The booth holders have gone all out tonight, all out for Carnival 2025. Juniors and our seniors holding up the key that had just opened the gate to Carnival Village.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just here to wish you a safe, pleasant and enjoyable carnival. To the booth holders inside and outside, may you have a prosperous carnival. To those of you getting ready to revel, may you have a safe jump up. And everyone, I just hope this is a most eventful and less eventful, no negativity, but safe and enjoyable carnival. I just want no drama, just fun, just pure bacchanal, but the safest way, bacchanal. Good evening, thank you.
Just want to wish everyone a safe, happy, pleasant and enjoyable carnival. Let's get down to the business of food, friends and fete. Enjoy it, Tamata.
I would first like to congratulate the SCDF board members and members for bringing this wonderful event to life. Please give them a round of applause. Being on the other side, we know the hard work and dedication it takes, and they were able to bring this wonderful event to life, so congratulations. And would like to invite the St. Martin people, but also the visitors to come and indulge in our culture. And I'm inviting you to just have a wonderful time, safe, enjoy the food, enjoy the music, enjoy the village. If you want to move in, I don't know if they can move in though, but if you want to just spend the entire time here, of course, on behalf of my board and my members, I'm wishing everyone a happy and safe Carnival 2025. Thank you.
First of all, good evening and welcome to the Jocelyn Arundel Festival Village, better known to us as Carnival Village. Now, I hear Mike talk about us as one. If you all look behind me, do we see French and Dutch? Remember, we carry the same color tonight, so we don't see no French and Dutch committee. We see one committee, which is the SCDF and the FCDFM committee, which is one. And this is what I've been always trying to bring forward with the culture, to see that we can exchange our culture on both sides of the island. This year, the French side had theirs in February. It was a great success, and we're going to have a great success here in Carnival Village for 2025. Like I always say, come and experience life. One of the things I would like to do as well is to thank the ministers that have come up here tonight and greet you. Without one minister, she really stepped up to the plate and she really did what we expect her to do. We ain't finished as yet because we got some other things still to discuss, but I can thank her, and I'm going to thank her from the bottom of my heart, that to see that as a cultural person that I am, and also she is a part of Carnival herself, she was always being like how she would always say, I from Carnival, you know, so don't worry. Not because I'm in the ministry now, but she's always a Carnival person. Before I get any further, I would like to have a moment of silence for a gentleman Many may not know Troy Washington. Troy Washington is my cousin, his father is my uncle, and I would like to have a moment of silence in memory of him. He will have his service this coming week. Okay, that's why I'm wearing this white and black hat, because this is one of his what you call it, his icon or his theme that he always wear when it comes to carnival. And that cousin Troy Washington used to always spend our time by booth 12, 13, 14, and 15. I could give you a little story that we always used to do, and now we cannot do it anymore. As soon as carnival opened, we always had this trend was saying, we're going to start by booth number 1. Whatever drink we have in our hand, we're going to see how far we're going to reach having that drink in our hand. The last day, the last time that I had with my cousin, with that drink, we end up by booth number 12 because he couldn't go anymore. He could not go anymore. So this time we were supposed to continue that trend, but at the moment, you know, things happen. But I would like to have one moment of silence for my dear beloved cousin, Troy Washington. Thank you. And also, I would like to thank all the sponsors, I would like to thank all the booth holders, and I want to thank all the stakeholders that have been a part of Carnival this year. And you know, like we said before, we are dedicating Carnival this year to Bigfoot. He was a legend with No Limit Band, and you know how Bigfoot is at the moment. So we will be dedicating Carnival 2025 to Bigfoot, which is Ellis, last name again? Anyway, but we would like to thank, like we said, thank everyone for coming out this evening, thank the young people for having a great jump up. We also would like to thank the police force, and we'd like to thank the security company, and also all my members here, Dutch and French, because I don't consider them right now two different committees, because we're in one color. So you know, we can't tell the difference, just hold our hand on our chest, and you know we got one color. I want to thank our committee members, and I want to thank the people of St. Martin. The people of St. Martin, because I always say, Carnival do not belong to us. We are not the organization. Carnival belongs to you, the people of St. Martin, and we appreciate that every one of you gonna come and have a good time. You know, we're gonna have some of y'all playing Carnival, enjoying yourself. And like we said, give a round of applause for our queens that have done a marvelous job the other day. And you know, we're gonna step up the plate to make sure that next year, because we have the Minister of Education right now, you know, we're gonna make sure that we get her involved with a lot of things. And then when it comes to the junior parade, and also the junior calypso, the junior queen and teen pageant. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for being here, and I'm going to say 2025 Carnival has just opened. I thank you.
Recognize the crucial role of the World Bank and the National Recovery Bureau have played in advancing our national building efforts. The pace and quality of the implementation have been commended both locally and internationally, and rightly so. However, we have also experienced challenges that we believe can be addressed for betterment of all. The current procurement procedures, while grounded in the best intentions and goals, standards, have often placed local professionals at a disadvantage, limiting our ability to meaningfully participate in the very building of our island. Today, we will share our experiences and offer suggestions on how to strengthen local inclusion in these important efforts. We approach this discussion in good faith, with respect for all parties involved, and with a firm belief that St. Martin grows stronger when her own people are part of the work.
To understand our present concern, it is essential to reflect on the journey that has brought us here. In the aftermath of Hurricane Irma devastation in September of 2017, the government of the Netherlands committed 470 million euros, approximately $553 million, to establish the St. Martin Recovery, Reconstruction, and Resilient Trust Fund. This fund is managed by the World Bank in collaboration with the government of St. Martin and the government of the Netherlands. To carry out the projects financed by the trust fund, the National Recovery Program Bureau, the NRPB, was created in January of 2019 as an independent administrative body under the responsibility of the Minister of General Affairs. Its mission is to prepare, implement, and monitor recovery projects aimed at rebuilding infrastructures, strengthening economic resilience, and preparing St. Martin for future disasters. Importantly, the strategic framework 2019-2025, the guidance document for the trust fund, acknowledges the critical role of the local involvement. It mentions the need to increase local capacity, and it implicitly states local labor will be leveraged to the greatest possible extent, also within the framework of the World Bank procurement regulations. This fundamental principle underlines our belief that local businesses, contractors, and professionals are not just beneficiaries, but vital partners in our national recovery. Our aim is to ensure that this principle is fully realized in practice. At the initial tender of 2019-2020, which had mixed results and served as a learning curve for all parties, including the NRPB, we observe a shift in approach. In the period between 2020 and 2023, the construction tender began to group multiple works into a single package. For example, combining numerous schools, shelters, or homes. This bundling significantly raised the financial requirements, making it impossible for small local contractors to qualify. It's often said that local contractors should collaborate to meet their thresholds, but such partnerships carry considerable risk. Joint ventures require mutual financial exposure, shared liability, and complete transparency. It is unrealistic to expect two small businesses to open their books to one another and accept full joint responsibility for a multi-million-dollar project. It should also not be underestimated that it costs a considerable amount of time and money to put together a bid according to the World Bank requirements. While high-quality standards are understandable, the financial barrier could have been mitigated. For instance, a tender for the renovation of 11 schools could have been divided, allowing smaller contractors to compete for a portion of the work. The supervising consultant could then ensure health, safety, and environmental compliance. This would have fostered both capacity building and meaningful participation, allowing smaller firms to build a creditable portfolio, something is vital for eligibility in further tenders. But things were about to get worse. From 2023 onwards, we saw financial requirements push even higher, so high, in fact, that even the larger contractors struggled to qualify. It seemed the projects were deliberately designed to attract large foreign firms. The consequences have been cleared. A mainland Chinese firm has won back-to-back contracts for major public works. The renovation of 12 sports facilities, the expansion of the fire and ambulance building, renovation of 13 school gyms, reconstruction of the Sister Marie Laurent School, including demolition of the Charles Leopold Bell School and the St. Martin Library. Even in these cases, work could have been divided. You're telling me that 13 school gyms couldn't be divided, 12 sports facilities couldn't be divided. The building and demolition of the Sister Marie Laurent School, including the demolition of the Charles Leopold Bell School and the demolition of the St. Martin Library, couldn't be separate projects? How does it even make sense to bundle them together? Government agencies such as GB and VROMI frequently break up projects to support local micro enterprises why not apply the same principle here? We believe the NRPB's strong team and extensive consultancy support has the capacity to manage projects in a way that includes more of the small local contractors sector. The World Bank itself has decades of experience promoting inclusive developments. We are especially concerned about the long-term impact of foreign firms operating with low-cost labor, cheaper equipment, and direct access to bulk materials. The cost of living in St. Martin is high, flooding the market with artificially low prices from abroad, risking undercutting and eventually destroying our local construction industry. This is not a hypothetical concern. Even in the Netherlands, Prime Minister Dick Schoof has warned about long-term risks of over-reliance on cheap foreign Chinese goods. What may appear cost-effective at first can ultimately undermine domestic resilience. This is why such a broad alliance of St. Martin contractors, consultants, architects, and suppliers signed a petition out of concern that our recovery process, rather than building resilience and local capacity, may inadvertently create dependency, and that we believe was not the intent of this trust fund.
and Wimmet Roads has proudly participated in several NRPB tenders from 2019-2020 through 2023-24. Successfully delivered multiple projects. We welcome the World Bank standards as an opportunity to elevate our operations and build a portfolio that would allow us to compete regionally. The experience benefited not only our company but also the network of subcontractors and tradespeople we employed for those projects. By raising the bar, as Mr. Leroy explained, only Licom and Wimmet Roads were the two companies who were able to work for NRPB. What has been realized by those two companies is a 12 shelters project by Wimmet Roads, 3 schools by Wimmet Roads, 101 homes by Licom, 64 apartments in Belvedere by Licom, the repair of 3 schools and the fire ambulance building by Wimmet Roads, the GB Phase 1 by Wimmet Roads, the repair of Home 3 project, 18 units by Licom, and the repair, the last one, the repair of 13 schools by Licom. These projects were completed without major cost overruns and major delays. So we were surprised when, despite these successes, the requirements for the tenders 23-24 were raised dramatically. You have to know that participating by the above mentioned projects, the contractor needed to have a cash flow or credit line of $800,000, need to submit 10% of as a performance bond of the total contract sum. For example, a $10 million contract means a $1 million performance bond and a $1 million advance payment bond. All those bonds and credit line, we need to go to a bank to get those credit lines, and we need to put a lot of collateral opposite to that before we get even close to these funds. By raising that bar with the last project, namely the Marie-Laurent School and the demolition of 3 other projects, raising the bar to a credit line of $1.4 million, that was even for Licom and Wimmet Roads a step too high. So we were not able to participate in that bidding of that project. Perhaps because of some issues in projects from 2022 to 2023 may be the reason. Therefore is of course a learning curve for contractors to deal with the World Bank requirements. We can make mistakes. We are not perfect. And the same apply for NRPB. You would think that this is a part of the process of increasing capacity. Raising the bar was especially confusing because during the same time the Trust Fund and NRPB were being praised as model for the region. Even Suriname was looking to NRPB as an example. If our local consultants, contractors had delivered so much already, why the need to raise the bar again? The frustration is compounded by the fact that newer tenders involve or will involve new builds, a critical type of experience for contractors seeking to grow their portfolios and compete internationally. We also understand that recent bids by local firms were deemed too expensive compared to estimates. Should say something. Another issue is timing, which also has an impact on cost. Tenders specified expected construction periods, which must be factored into bids. Local firms maintain officers, trained staff on island to meet such expectations, and the bids are based on the pre-bid. Foreign firms rely on importing labours. Something NRPB has committed to assisting within its own terms of reference. That includes helping with work permits and even securing exemptions. That is of course strange if you read the agreement between the Netherlands, Sint Maarten and the World Bank. that the target was to involve as much as possible local people and local companies as an added value to disperse those funds to the island. We now understand that several projects has already missed the intended start date due to what we understand is permitting delays. By awarding the contract to a foreign company that underestimate the complexity of the local labor requirements, NLPB has put both the projects and itself in a difficult position. The foreign firms' failure to comply with the required timelines places the projects at risk, and theory should warrant removal from the project. Now, that has then happened since yesterday. The project Marie-Laurence and the demolition of the 3 schools, of which is already a strange combination, in my opinion. That contractor has been removed from the project. But that same contractor is also still involved with the renovation of 13 gyms, with 13 playgrounds, most probably also with the extension of the fire and ambulance building. And as we see that progress, for example, by the 13 gyms of the schools, that is also about to fail. If World Bank rules are to be respected, then the rule about timely start and contract enforcement should apply just as firmly. Delays due to foreign labor permits are a known risk and should not be grounds for special allowances. If we as local companies start too late, then we also get hit with all kinds of fines and financial consequences. In contrast, local firms who understand the bureaucracy and plan accordingly are penalized. If this continues, it could lead to a market where foreign firms dominate and local capacity withers. Exactly the opposite of what this recovery was meant to achieve.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation, splendid and scenic accommodations, Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
Minister, as Minister of Education, would you agree that in the learning process for our children, that learning from and understanding the mistakes that they make is a critical part of that learning process?
Yes.
So I have an experience where children that are doing their preparations for the FBE exams, which are coming up in May, so shortly, where students are taking the practice exams, but there's no review of the mistakes of or review of the exams themselves, which really makes me question the value of that practice process and the learning strategy behind that. Could you address that?
Yeah, so I actually, we've had this discussion actually at the town halls for the FBE review itself, where I also shared that what we've seen is that the practice tests are kind of used as the be-all, end-all. What I did experience while visiting the schools over the last month and a half is that most are choosing to simply do review in class. I think if you rely too heavily on a practice test, you kind of get stuck in the rut of what is on the practice test. My general experience, and like I said, what I've seen, because as I visited every class that is entering that period, they were all doing reviews right there in front of me, and it's usually with the teacher going over different topics. We've even had a situation where a parent was asking for old practice tests, and that is not available anymore because what the ministry saw and identified is that the practice test was being used as the only type of review. And what happens is you end up with poor curriculum development, poor memorization of what is on the practice test. And so when the actual test gets in front of the student, they don't really know what to do. I understand that every school differs. From what I've seen, the reviews are done by the teacher. I agree that reviewing your mistakes is one way to definitely learn and prepare. And that is something that we can take up in this ongoing review. So I'll make note of this question for the researchers that are doing that review.
Thank you. The other question refers to the discipline within schools.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I have firsthand knowledge, experience, not firsthand. I understand from reliable sources that there was incidents of bullying. And what I observed is that the teachers are extremely frustrated. They have a class with children that are not disciplined. And I brought it up with the management of the school. And I think there was a level of frustration that they felt that they didn't necessarily have the tools in order to discipline appropriately. So from the Ministry of Education's perspective, can you explain, if a teacher has problem children, are they allowed to suspend? Are they allowed to expel? What type of disciplinary measures are available to the teachers?
So suspension is done in collaboration with inspectorate, and every school is aware of that. When it comes to bullying, I try to understand if you meant bullying on the part of students or bullying on the part of others.
Between students.
Okay. So bullying on the part of students is indeed an issue. And surprisingly enough, what I have learned since coming into the ministry is that you also have incidents of bullying from teachers, where students are being targeted for whatever reason by educators. Of course, not all. I understand 100% the frustration of educators with the lack of resources that we have in the ministry. This is why I've been so passionate, and I've told everybody, don't attempt to cut this ministry's budget any further because I won't allow it. But ultimately, it is also falling within this FBE review on how we can address these matters. I also don't necessarily believe that you have problem children. Children have emotions, they have their own things that they're dealing with, much like adults. In fact, adults tend to pass their issues on to children, and that causes them to act out. So it is really about finding a comprehensive approach that protects everybody: children, teacher, school manager, and the ministry. So these are things that we are going to be addressing as this review, in particular of FBE for the younger schools, continues. In terms of bullying outside of school, I just want to touch again on the school bus incidents that we've been seeing happen. The fleet management and tracking system is now in its testing phase, and I'm anticipating that that will go a long way to, if not completely stopping, at least lessening and allowing us to identify who participates in these activities on the buses, as there are going to be cameras on the bus and penalties for everybody, parent, bus driver, bus company alike, if they tamper with this system moving forward.
Okay, so just for clarity, expulsion and...
That is a process that runs after, I believe it's 2 suspensions, I'm not sure. But again, it is in collaboration with the Division of Inspection. It cannot just happen.
So suspension, so even to send a student home for the balance of the day requires collaboration with the inspectorate?
They have to notify, yes.
So that sounds like a relatively bureaucratic process. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you give me an idea in terms of frequency, how often that happens?
Since I've become minister, I can get older data for you, if you'll allow me. But since I've become minister, I think I've had to witness at least 3 or 4 suspensions.